What if everything you see, hear, and feel right now is not real? What if the chair beneath you, the screen in front of you, and every single memory stored in your brain is nothing more than a carefully constructed illusion? You might think that sounds like science fiction, the kind of thing reserved for movies and late-night conspiracy theories. But here's the uncomfortable truth. One of the greatest philosophers who ever lived asked the exact same question over 2,000 years ago. And he did not have a computer, a lab, or a single piece of modern technology. He had a cave. Welcome back. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most powerful thought experiments in human history, Plato's Allegory of the Cave. By the end of this video, you will never look at your reality the same way again.
The story of the cave. Let's set the scene. Imagine a dark underground cave. Inside this cave, a group of people have been chained since birth. Their necks, their legs, their entire bodies locked in place, facing a blank stone wall. They cannot turn around. They cannot look left or right. All they can see is the wall directly in front of them. Behind them, a fire burns. Between the fire and the prisoners, people walk back and forth carrying objects, statues of animals, tools, and other figures. The fire casts the shadows of these objects onto the wall. And those shadows, that is all the prisoners have ever seen. That is their entire world. They give these shadows names, they study their patterns, they develop entire systems of knowledge based on nothing but flickering silhouettes on a stone wall.
Now here is where it gets interesting. Plato asks us, what happens if one prisoner is suddenly freed? He stands up, turns around, and is blinded by the fire. It is painful. He does not want to look. Everything feels wrong. But slowly, painfully, he adjusts. He sees the fire. He sees the objects. He realizes the shadows were never the real things. They were just poor copies of copies. Then imagine he is dragged further, out of the cave entirely, into sunlight. He is overwhelmed. He cannot see anything at first. But after time, his eyes adjust. He sees trees, rivers, the sky, and finally the sun itself, the source of all light, all life, all truth.
He understands everything that came before was a shadow of a shadow.
What Plato was really saying? This was not just a story about a cave. Plato was making a radical claim about the nature of reality itself. For him, the world we see every day, the physical world of objects, people, and events, is like those shadows on the wall. It looks real, it feels real, but it is a mere reflection of a higher, deeper reality he called the world of forms. Think about a perfect circle. You have never actually seen one. Every circle you have ever drawn or seen in real life has tiny imperfections. But in your mind, you understand what a perfect circle is. That concept, that ideal, that is what Plato called a form, the real circle. The physical circle is just a rough copy, trying its best to imitate the ideal. This applies to everything: justice, beauty, love, truth. Plato believed these had perfect, ideal forms that existed beyond the physical world, and human beings were constantly mistaking the shadows for the real thing. We argue about what justice looks like in a courtroom without ever stopping to ask, what is justice itself? We chase what we think is beauty without questioning whether what we are chasing is just a reflection of something far greater. The philosopher's burden. But the allegory does not end with the freed prisoner staring at the sun in wonder. Plato takes it a step further, and this is the part that truly gets under your skin. The freed prisoner goes back into the cave. He returns to tell the others what he has seen. And what happens? They do not believe him. Worse, they mock him. His eyes, now adjusted to real light, can barely make out the shadows anymore. He stumbles. He seems confused and incompetent to the other prisoners. And when he tries to explain that the shadows are not real, that there is an entire world beyond, the cave, they call him a fool. Plato writes that if they could, they would kill him. Sound familiar? Plato was thinking of Socrates, his own teacher, executed by the people of Athens for asking too many uncomfortable questions. The allegory is partly a tribute and partly a warning. Enlightenment is not comfortable. Truth seekers are rarely thanked. When you disturb someone's comfortable illusion, do not expect applause. Are we in the cave right now? Here is where it gets deeply personal. Are you in the cave right now? Consider this. The average person today spends more than 6 hours a day looking at a screen. We consume content designed by algorithms to show us exactly what keeps us engaged, not necessarily what is true. We live in filter bubbles, surrounded by news, opinions, and entertainment that confirm what we already believe. The shadows on the wall have been replaced by timelines, feeds, and notifications. The fire has been replaced by glowing screens. The people carrying objects behind the prisoners, those might be the creators, platforms, and advertisers who carefully curate what enters your field of vision. You think you are seeing the world, but you are seeing a selection of it, a shadow cast by powerful forces you probably never stop to examine. And it is not just technology. Think about the beliefs you inherited from your culture, your family, your school system. How many of them have you genuinely examined? How many are just shadows that were on the wall when you were born, so you assumed they were real? The modern simulation theory. Plato's cave found an unexpected companion in modern philosophy. In 2003, philosopher Nick Bostrom published a paper arguing that we may literally be living inside a computer simulation. His logic? If a civilization ever becomes advanced enough to create realistic simulations of conscious beings, those simulated beings would vastly outnumber real ones. Statistically, we are far more likely to be in a simulation than in base reality. Elon Musk has called it almost certain that we live in a simulation. Physicists have pointed to the mathematical structure of the universe, the fact that reality seems to behave like code at the quantum level, as suspicious evidence. The Matrix, one of the most influential films ever made, is a direct retelling of Plato's cave with a science fiction skin. 2,000 years apart, and both Plato and modern thinkers arrive at the same haunting question. How would you even know if your reality was not real? The answer, terrifyingly, is that you probably would not. So ask yourself honestly, what are the shadows on your wall? And are you brave enough to turn around? If this video made you think differently about the world around you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want more deep dives into the ideas that have shaped human civilization, subscribe. The cave is comfortable, but the sun is waiting.